The KOTOR remake is dead, but not in the way that you think. In this Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake video, I will be sharing with you all of the news, including PlayStation wanting to pull out of this game, but also context that is missing from most other articles. Plus, we also have an update on the lawsuit about the cancelled DLC for KOTOR 2. Before we do get into today's news though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on the KOTOR remake. So just yesterday, I uploaded a video where I said I asked the CEO of Embracer, the publisher behind the KOTOR remake, how he is feeling about the game. In that video, I shared his response to the question, with a long pause, smile and chuckle. He said, "I've noticed anything I say to this becomes a headline, so that is my only comment." The irony in that is it became a headline, as I expected. This game has a lot of fans. It is so desperately wanted by so many people. They just want a little bit of information regarding how the project is going, because it has been 2 years of essentially silence from PlayStation, Embracer, Saber, Aspyr, and Lucasfilm plus Disney. So, a reputable games journalist that I trust and have followed for a while has come out and said that the game is not being worked on, but this comes just after I made a video yesterday where I asked the CEO of Embracer, the publisher behind the KOTOR remake, how he is feeling about the game. On top of that, Embracer updated their upcoming game release schedule, and it still has Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake listed. Some gaming websites did report on the question I put out to the Embracer CEO, and his answer. However, very few actually included the release schedule which I showed in my video. It clearly shows that the game as of 48 hours ago is a game that they have not cancelled. So how is this game reportedly dead, according to pretty much every game news website? Well, Jeff Grubb, who is an extremely reliable games journalist, I've covered his Star Wars leaks and rumours in the past, he has always been right in regards to Star Wars stuff, talked about what the CEO said in response to my comment on his show. I was watching his show live, and these are his exact quotes of what he said. "I want to clear this up. This game is not being worked on right now. Full stop. This game is not being worked on in any way at any studio." I don't typically cover leaks unless it's from a reliable journalist, and when it comes to Star Wars leaks, whether it be Jedi Survivor or things like that, I've covered what Jeff has said because he's not just proven himself with Star Wars stuff, but also wider gaming news very often. He's very credible. He has good sources. What he is saying is that the game is currently not being worked on at this moment in time at Saber Interactive or anyone. Saber Interactive took over the project from Aspyr, but since then, it hasn't been really clear what's been going on. Jeff followed this up by saying, "I've looked into it a little bit, just to confirm this game is not being worked on right now. Do you think Embracer will actually get around to making this game? The only two entities that could step in are Sony and Lucasfilm/Disney. Sony seem like they want nothing to do with this. That's what I've heard echoes of. They want absolutely nothing to do with this going forward." Let's just break down that section for a moment. We've heard for a while now that Sony PlayStation are financing this game in some way, hence why it is a PS5 console launch exclusive alongside PC. They are publishing, so probably putting some funding money behind it as well. I think the fact that they want to break away from this is potentially why the game's not being worked on right now. There are probably many legal reasons why work has had to be paused and things need to be resolved. Lucasfilm, for the longest time, have wanted this to happen. This is a game they can't afford not to come out. They know so many fans want it. It would look so bad on them if this is yet another cancelled Star Wars game. This is just me speculating, but perhaps they are looking for a new financial partner to replace Sony. To coincide with this, Embracer Group have a lot of financial issues. If they've decided to say, right, we are pausing development, it's not being worked on right now, we can't afford it, but we are looking for a development partner, and we are looking for a new partner to replace Sony to give us funding, maybe that's what this is about. They may even be looking for another studio to take over the actual development of the game, and not Saber, because Saber may have another project that they've been moved on to. There are just so many factors that may or may not be part of this whole situation, and it is just so frustrating they aren't giving us any clarity. I understand they're a publicly traded company, this isn't the stuff they want to get out there, but so much baggage and issues are arising from this remake that honesty would go a much longer way than just annoying some investors and making things look bad. I think the honesty would do them good in the public eye. So it hasn't been officially cancelled, it just is not being worked on, and it may just move around. An example I could give you regarding a similar situation is Dead Island 2. That game was rebooted a few times. What was originally Dead Island 2 is not what we actually got this year. It moved to various studios, and it was never actually cancelled. It just changed hands, and it finally got released this year, after basically a decade, and to be honest, it's done quite well. I'm just saying that there is a precedent set here for something like this to happen. The next set of quotes I have from Jeff are where things get twisted. He says, "No way this game ever happens. That's my opinion right now. Maybe that changes. Maybe some huge factor comes into play that we are not considering right now, but as it stands, this game is deader than dog." Pretty much no one is saying that is his opinion. Yes, it's dead in this iteration, but he even says maybe another factor comes into play that changes things, it changes hands. That's potentially why it's still on the release schedule for Embracer. You will see that most of the tweets and headlines by massive accounts and outlets just say that the KOTOR remake is dead. What they don't say is that it was Jeff's opinion at this moment in time. They also missed all of the other contexts, such as the game not being in development at this moment in time, but Jeff says maybe another factor comes into play. This whole thing is just one big, gigantic mess. All of the companies involved have a part in the blame. This really frustrates me. So many people have been on edge for the past 2 years, and no one can come out and be honest to the fans. I'm also really frustrated at how the media have ran this story. They did not report all of Jeff's quotes. They only want to share a few words because most people's attention span these days is very low. They can only take in a few words in a tweet, or a few words in a YouTube title, or a few words in an article headline. Saying the KOTOR remake is dead with no context creates negative emotions, and that riles people up, which drives engagement on the posts. That's all they want, to rile you up so you give them engagement so they can profit from it. Reporting the truth doesn't succeed. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. When there were obvious fake Battlefront 3 leaks, loads of people covered them, suggesting that they could be real and reaped the rewards. I debunked them because even though they were fairly obvious fakes, people took the leaks and ran with them as possible truth without any kind of research. My debunking wasn't popular, even though it was true. Still to this day, many people believe various lies about Battlefront 2. 6 years on. To add to this, Jeff even debunked someone that claims the game has issues because Lucasfilm and Disney don't like, in quotes, the old canon. Jeff says this has absolutely nothing to do with it. Whilst this is obvious, we've had detailed reports before as to why there have been development issues with this remake, and some people are still making things up that are completely false, that have no basis of truth, that weren't in these reports. So overall, with this story from Jeff, it is another huge blow to the morale of the KOTOR community and wider fans who just want this remake. It's not a good look, it's not a good situation. No progress is being made on this game because no one is working on it. And that is insane and ridiculous and awful. But who knows what the future holds? I would love to hear your thoughts on what Jeff has said and this whole situation down in the comment section below. There was still even more news about KOTOR that came out yesterday though. So a few days ago, I decided to contact a consumer advocacy company who are following the cancelled DLC for KOTOR 2 lawsuit. We now know some of the details on why it has been cancelled. If you aren't aware, I covered this lawsuit in a previous video, but basically a fan launched a class action lawsuit this July against Aspyr over the cancellation of the KOTOR 2 DLC. When the game launched on the Nintendo Switch last year, Aspyr advertised this game to have a free update which included cut content. This did eventually become a mod on the PC version of the original game, but this was going to be an officially released version of this cut content on the Nintendo Switch. The DLC was delayed and many more months passed until Aspyr announced in June that they have outright cancelled the DLC. This caused a lot of outrage among buyers of this Nintendo Switch version of the game. In case you don't know, this DLC was set to restore story content cut before the original game released in 2004. Modders have been able to put this together on PC, but this was the only official way to get access to this cut content. In response to the cancellation of this DLC, Aspyr offered a free Star Wars game for the Nintendo Switch, but no refunds. I wanted to see if there had been an update to this lawsuit because it had been a couple of months, and this consumer advocacy group that responded to me said that an amendment was filed last month and the lawsuit is still ongoing. To access the various court documents, you have to pay, unfortunately. I'm not in the financial position to be paying for these to make this video, but the good news is, however, is Axios, a reputable outlet, have looked at these court documents and shared what they found. We also have one of the defences Aspyr is putting up, is which all purchasers of KOTOR 2 on the Switch were offered replacement products worth more than the one they purchased. But why was this DLC cancelled in the first place? This is what everyone has wanted to know. Well, the documents list a quote from the co-CEO of Aspyr. He says Aspyr believed it would be able to release the content, but a third party objected and Aspyr was unable to do so. So they are claiming they are innocent. It's not down to them. But we need to know who on earth objected to this. I can't imagine Lucasfilm will have been against this. They gave approval for this game and the DLC in the advertisement and all of that stuff. I don't believe it would be the modders who did the original work, however they are involved. The only other party I can think of is Disney and their lawyers being uptight about something. I really don't know. None of us at this moment in time know more than that, unfortunately. Hopefully future court documents in this case do reveal that. If we do hear anything more on this situation, I will make a video, so make sure you do stay subscribed because you won't want to miss anything to do with this lawsuit or the KOTOR remake. I will keep you updated. I know this video brings some bad news, but I still have a little bit of hope that someone will take over this KOTOR remake, and it will come out in another form in some way. I try my very best only to cover the factual information. I have no idea why people run rampant with insane conspiracy theories to do with the KOTOR remake, or just straight up misrepresentation of good reporting, such as Jeff's. I can assure you, you won't get that from me. That's what I've been saying and doing for over a decade now with Star Wars games. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything I've talked about in this video, so please do let me know down in the comment section below. Drop a like to help support the channel, it would really mean a lot, thank you. Subscribe so you don't miss any future videos from me, and if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.